So is my screen visible, Ranjit?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is visible.
I'm drawing something. It's all come.
Yeah, you're drawing a circuit, sir.
Okay.
It has come. Mm.
Okay. So good. Thank you. We will move on. So here I've given a small circuit here. My question to you is, how does the charge on the capacitor vary with time? How does the charge on the capacitor vary with time? So yeah, if you all need some time to get your physics books, I'm willing to wait for a minute. Please get your notebooks and then please start working on this. So here is a circuit. In this circuit, there are two resistors, 10 ohms, 10 ohms, and then there is a capacitor. So, so the way we understand this particular circuit is understand that charge will definitely get deposited on this, but there is an alternative route for the current. So there will always be a current. Okay, then the potential difference across this is going to be the okay, so just work it out. Suppose there is a current I here, there's a current I here, so some part of it goes this way and then some part of it goes the other way. So suppose this is I, this will become I1, and I don't know, this will become I minus I1. Then you look at this particular loop. So in this particular loop, this is some volt given to you. Let's say it is 20 volts. So I am going in the direction of current. So let me follow this particular loop. So 10 into I plus 10 into I1 is equal to 20 volts. Okay. So that is the equation for the first loop that I have taken. Now you consider a loop like this. So when you consider a loop like this, you have 10 into I plus Q by C is equal to 20 volts. Yeah. So now we can work on this. Now basically understand that this Q by C, this I is not dQ by dt. This I is not dQ by dt. dQ by dt is actually I minus I1. So I am interested in the value of I minus I1. So I want to find that out. Okay. So when I work on the first one, I'll get I plus I1 is equal to 20 volts. Okay. Then I will get I is equal to yeah, so you will have to see how we can work with these two, and then we will get it. So just give me a minute and I will work it out. Meanwhile, if you all can do it, please do it. So my question is, what is the time dependence of charge on this particular capacitor? So I wrote one Kirchhoff's law equation, I wrote another Kirchhoff's law equation. Understand that the Q that we are talking of on the capacitor, the dQ by dt is equal to I minus I1. It is neither I nor is it I1. Okay, so we have to understand this particular concept. So very simply what I can see is, I can see that 10 times I1 is equal to Q by C. So 10 times I1 is equal to Q by C. Now 10 times I1 is equal to Q by C. I want to write in terms of yeah. So what can I do? So I can say that I1 is equal to I1 is equal to Q by 10C, I can say, but I1 is still not equal to dQ by dt. So dQ by dt is I minus I1. Okay, it's a little tricky one. Let us see what we can do. Yeah, if anybody has any suggestions, any ideas, you can tell me, so that way we'll be a little faster and easier and better, and we'll do it better. Okay, so some fundamental questions are coming up. So look, this is the circuit, right? Now there is a resistor here, and then there is a resistor here, and then there is a potential source here. This is V, this is 10 ohms, this is also 10 ohms, this is some 2 microfarad. Okay, so the question, so suppose a current I goes this way, I goes this way, and suppose I1 is going this side, then what is responsible for the charging of the capacitor? The I minus I1. I minus I1 is responsible for the charging of the capacitor, because I1 is going this side, so only the rest of it is that is what is responsible, right? Yeah, so now if I have to write some equations, I already wrote 10 times I plus 10 times I1 is equal to 20 V. We took this as 20 volts is equal to 20 V. So I have I plus I1 is equal to 20 volt. Sorry, 20 by 10. 20 by 10, that is equal to 2. So I plus I1 is equal to 2, that we have written. So I1 is equal to 2 minus I. Yeah. So I minus I1 is equal to I minus I1 is equal to I minus 2 minus I. So that is equal to 2 times I minus 2. So this is equal to dQ by dt. Two times I minus 2 is equal to dQ by dt. So that makes it, okay. So sorry, this is not dQ by dt. This is equal to Q by C. So I minus I1 is equal to dQ by dt. Okay, if I have to write other equations, I will see 10 times I1 is equal to Q by C. So, but I can't write that as dQ by dt. So I can say that I1 is equal to Q by 10C. I1 is equal to Q by 10C. And if I go the long route, then I'll see that 10 times I plus Q by C is equal to 20. So I have to just, so Q by C is equal to 20 minus 10 times I. 20 minus 10 times I. So now I is equal to 2 minus I1. So that is equal to 20. Again, I'll be going in a circle. Anyway, that will get equal to Q by C is equal to 10 times I1. Okay, so ideas are not coming today. So let us see. We can do by elimination method, right? What do you mean by elimination method? I don't understand. Sir, I is equal to 1 ampere. No, I is equal to 1 ampere only when steady state has reached. So I will repeat some fundamental things again. So this is a capacitor, this is a resistor, and this is another resistor. So this is 20 volts here, this is 10 ohms here, this is 10 ohms here. So the moment you connect the circuit, the moment you connect the circuit, charge starts moving. Charge starts moving, and then the charge goes this way. The current starts going this way. The current starts going this way. Then the charge on the capacitor increases. The charge on the capacitor increases till it is fully charged. So only when it is fully charged, only when it is fully charged, only when it is fully charged, the current in the circuit is 1 ampere. Okay, only when it is fully charged, the current is 1 ampere. Initially, the current will be higher. Initially, the current will be higher, and yeah, initially the current will be higher, and some charge will get deposited on the plates of the capacitor. So my question to you was how much time it will take, but somehow I am not able to work it out immediately. Because the charge initially, there will be some current here in the circuit and some current will be going there. Suppose I1 is I is coming here, I1 is going here. Here it should be I1 I minus Q. So I mean Q is wrong. I minus dQ by dt. So that should be the charge which is going up. That means over a period of time, that charge will be reducing. So that charge will be reducing this way. So this I am able to understand, but I am not able to frame an equation which will enable me to solve like the way we did it yesterday. Okay. So yeah, so give me some time. I'll think a little bit more and then I will get back. But whatever I have discussed, I hope that is clear and you all are able to understand. I have no clue. When will chemistry class happen? I have no clue. I told you the timetable yesterday. We are strictly going to follow the timetable yesterday. Please don't ask me about the chemistry classes. I am your physics teacher. If you have any physics questions, please talk to me. I'll be able to answer. Okay, so this is it. So I will work this out. The actual question that was there, there's a question of this kind in HC Verma, which doesn't talk about that, but which talks about something else. So suppose there is a circuit of this kind. This is some R, this is some R. Initially the circuit is, this circuit is closed. Initially this circuit is closed. There's a switch here. Okay, so initially the switch is on. So capacitor gets charged. Okay, now the question was, once capacitor is fully charged, once capacitor is fully charged, the battery is removed. Once capacitor is fully charged, the battery is removed. So now you have taken away this battery. Now the question is, what will be the current in the circuit? What is the current through this resistor? So here you have the concept of discharging of a capacitor. So what we did earlier yesterday was the charging of a capacitor. Now we are doing discharging of a capacitor. So now because there is charge on this place, there will be some charge which will be moving. There will be a current through it. So now again, we will apply Kirchhoff's law. Let the current in the circuit be equal to IR. So the loss in potential will become equal to I into R, and the gain in potential. Now suppose you're moving from this particular point in a closed loop. This is positive, this is negative, so this will be the direction of the current. So you're going this way, so you have lost potential. Now you're going from negative to positive. Negative to positive, you will gain potential. So minus IR plus Q by C is equal to 0 because there is no potential. So now I can say that Q by C is equal to dQ by dt into R. Okay, Q by C is equal to dQ by dt into R. So from here we can get that dt is equal to RC into dQ by Q. So now the integral is 0 to t. Here the integral is from initially it is Q naught, the maximum charge, to some Q. So now when you perform this integral, you will get t is equal to, this one will become RC log Q. The limits are Q0 to Q. So that will become RC log Q minus log Q naught. So you will get T by RC is equal to log of Q by Q naught, Q by Q naught. So from here we can get the value for Q. So yeah, so you work it out. Let us see, we are going in this direction. So we are going in this direction. Starting from here, we are going in this direction. So there will be a loss of potential. So minus IR. Then when you go this way, you will get a negative to positive. Negative to positive, when you go, you will gain. So plus Q by C is equal to 0. So Q by C is equal to dQ by dt dot R. So you just integrate and then you get it. Okay, so please reach here and then we will move on. Okay. See, there is a capacitor here. There is a resistor here. There is a potential here V. There is a capacitance here C. There's a resistor here R. Okay. Now this is a switch. So initially S1 is closed. S1 is closed means what? There will be current in the circuit. There will be current in the circuit. And the capacitor will get charged. Now, do you understand this? Initially, S1 is closed and there will be current in the circuit and the capacitor will get charged. Now, the question is, once the capacitor is fully charged, the switch is closed. I mean, the switch is off, that is open. If the switch is open, the battery is out of the circuit. The battery is out of the circuit. Okay. Now, once the battery is out of the circuit, the capacitor is fully charged. There is positive on this plate, there is negative on this plate. So the moment you remove this, now what happens is that there will be a current which will go from the positive to the negative. Yeah. So there will be a current from positive terminal to negative terminal. Yeah. Can you please make notes till here? Can you please understand this? Huh? So can you please reach till this particular point? Yeah. So once you reach here, now we have a circuit there. So apply Kirchhoff's law in that circuit. So when you apply Kirchhoff's law in the circuit, let the current here be equal to I. So if the current here is I, do you understand that the loss in potential will be equal to I into R? If this is R, then you are going here from here to here. You are going from the negative plate to the positive plate. So there will be gain in potential. So I into R must be equal to, this is the loss of potential. Loss of potential must be equal to the gain. What is the gain equal to? Gain is equal to Q by C, where Q is the charge there. Okay. So are you able to understand till here? Now, if you are able to understand till here, I can be written as dq by dt. So dq by dt into R is equal to Q by C. However, there is a small problem here. Is dq positive or negative? Do you see that the charge on the plates will be reducing? So do you understand that dq will be negative? So because dq is negative, I am putting in a negative sign here so that negative will become positive. Yeah. So now when you work upon this, you will see that you will get minus q minus dq rc by q is equal to dt. Now I'm going to integrate this because I want to find out how is the charge reducing. So initially it is q0, finally it is some q, not finally, at some time t it is some q. Initially this is 0, this is time t. So this value will give me the charge on the capacitor at any instant of time. Are you able to understand till here? Can you please reach here? Huh? So I am saying that look, the charge on the capacitor is reducing, dq is reducing, so dq is negative. Because dq is negative, dq by dt will also be negative. But here I have a positive quantity, so I put a negative sign so that negative will become positive. So my equation looks like dq by dt minus dq by dt into R is equal to q by C. So I have this integral here. Now we will use yesterday's techniques to solve this integral. So now this is a relatively simple integral. So it will become minus RC log Q, limits Q naught to Q is equal to T, or I will say log Q minus log Q naught is equal to minus T by RC. I've taken to the other side. So I'll get log Q by Q naught is equal to minus T by RC. So I will get Q is equal to Q naught into E power minus T by RC. So this is how the charge on the capacitor is at any instant of time. So this charge is reducing So this charge at time t is equal to 0, the charge was full. Now the charge is reducing. So here it is q, here it is t. At infinite time, it will come towards 0. So this is a graph which shows the discharging of a capacitor. So you have something called as charging, we saw yesterday. Today we are seeing discharging of a capacitor. Yeah, can you understand this? No, this Gayatri, you are making a mistake. Yesterday I wrote and I gave you the schedule. Okay. And I was very, very clear that whatever happens, that schedule is not changing. So there is no point in asking everybody when there will be this class, when there will be this class. You are making a big mistake. You can't call up 10 people and keep asking what is the timing of the class when I have given you the class in writing yesterday. If you are still saying the class is at 10:40, I am very sorry. You are making a mistake. I am not making any error here. Okay. So please make sure that you follow one instruction and don't keep asking other people for 100 instructions. There is no point in asking me when the chemistry class is. Somebody was asking me when the chemistry class is. I don't see any point in asking me when the chemistry class is, because yesterday I gave it to you in writing. Okay. So if what I have given it to you in writing is not being followed, you please talk to me. I will listen to that. But after having given to you guys in writing, and still if you keep asking 20 people what time their class will be, everybody need not know everybody's schedule. Okay. So everybody knows only their schedule. So please understand that and please cooperate. Yeah, it was never told to you the class will be at 10:50 unless you ask some other teacher. The 11th standard class is at 10:50 for your information. Yeah. So it was not wrongly informed. Nothing was wrongly informed. It was correctly informed. You went and asked the wrong person the wrong time. So I can't go outside on the road and ask somebody what is the class time for the class today. Obviously, they won't know. Okay, I gave it to you in writing yesterday. What are the timings for the class and when what timing will be? I don't understand. Beyond that, what is the confusion? I don't understand it. Okay, so I find that quite silly. There cannot be a confusion beyond that. So I very clearly have told you what is the timing of the class. So please don't get confused. It's very easy to get confused. It's like the internet. You ask for information, 20 different people will give 20 different informations, but you have to first verify the source. Information can be given. I can tell you that there is a chemistry class today at 4 o'clock also. Now the question is, for whom is that class? Is that class for you? No, there is no class for you. Okay, anyway, this is the first slide. This is the second slide. This is the third slide. This is the fourth one. This is the first relevant slide. So if you have missed everything, this is the first relevant slide. Please work from this relevant slide. This is the second relevant slide. So I explained the question. People didn't understand, so I explained the question again. Then this is the third slide. Yeah, and I'm writing again what your classes are. Please make sure that you are making a note of it. 8:30 to 9:30, you have your bio class. There's no change in that. 9:40 to 10:40, you have your maths class. There is again no change in that. Okay, there is absolutely no change in that. These class timings are fixed. Afternoon, I think you have 1:10 to 2:10, you have one class. That is the chemistry class. And 2:20 to 3:20, you have the next class, which is your physics class. Okay, so please make notes and don't ask anybody else as to what your schedule is. This is your schedule. Okay, now today maths sir is not there, so I'm making up for him. but you are still expected to attend all these classes. If bio ma'am is not there, I can't go and teach physics there because I know the computer science students are not expected to attend it. Okay. So now this class, all of you are expected to attend. This class, all of you are expected to attend. This class, all of you are expected to attend. And this schedule doesn't change. And for God's sake, please do not ask anybody else. So please don't get confused about this. There might be some guest classes or separate doubt clarification classes. Necessarily, the doubt clarification classes will be after 4 o'clock. Okay, and mostly they will come only on Saturday, Sundays, but they will be announced clearly. So please don't get confused beyond this. Okay, so yesterday I spoke to you about charging of a capacitor. Today I spoke to you about discharging of a capacitor. So when a capacitor is getting charged, charge goes on and gets stored in the capacitor. When the capacitor is getting discharged, charge moves out of the capacitor and gets discharged. So these are the 2 points. If you are able to understand this, please give some indication. If you want me to explain again, yeah, this is for all 5 days, Monday to Friday, every day of the week for the rest till your school start. Okay. So please don't worry about it. Don't ask anybody, that's all, because everybody has their own schedule. So they get confused and everybody doesn't know about every schedule. So don't worry about it. Don't ask anybody. We will always be following this schedule. Okay, Monday to Friday, the entire whole of June month, whole of July month, till whenever our schools reopen. This will be English class and all. Please don't ask me. I have no clue about all that. I can only tell you about my schedule. So please don't ask me when is your English class, when is your CS class. All those things I don't know. My schedule I won't change. This is my schedule, and I will assure you 100%. Yes, yesterday only I understood they were making a mistake. That is why I told you yesterday that I'm going to stick to this schedule. And yesterday at the end of the class, I gave you the schedule and I told you henceforth we will stick to it. And we have stuck to it and we will continue with it. So let us please stop that and let us come to physics. So please tell me whether you understand discharging. And Dhanush, you are making an error. You didn't get the schedule at midnight. You got the schedule yesterday as soon as I wrote my class. As soon as my class was over, I wrote the schedule and gave it to you in writing. After that also, if you want to get another indication, I'm sorry, you are wrong. Today onwards, they are not going to send any more schedules. Okay, the schedule is over. Forget about yesterday's schedule. I don't care. Yesterday is over. I'm telling you, in future, none of you will get any more schedules. The schedule I have told you now is a fixed schedule. Okay. So there is no question of any schedule. Railways doesn't give a schedule every day. They make one schedule and they stick to it. So we have made one schedule and we are going to stick to it. Don't tell me about yesterday, day before yesterday, day before that. I don't know anything about it. I can only tell you about the future. Today onwards, nobody is going to send any schedule to you anymore. Yeah, so please be clear about it. Now let us stop the schedule thing and let us come to physics. Please open your minds and let us focus on physics. Tell me whether you understand discharging and charging of a capacitor or not. If you understand, I will move ahead. If you don't understand, I will teach again. So quickly, please tell me. Okay, so I get some yeses. Very good. So we just move on. And then again we keep moving. Okay, so good. So let us stop the schedule thing. I hope the schedule is now clear. Yeah, now there are some questions coming up, so let me answer those questions. In this question you have asked about the current through the resistor. Yeah, after the battery has been removed. Yeah, now once you find the charge, then you can find the current. Once you find the charge, then we can find the current. because I is only equal to dq by dt. So I is equal to dq by dt. So from there we'll be able to find out. It will be equal to q naught by rc into e power minus t by rc. So this is going to be equal to the current in the circuit. Okay, this will be the current in the circuit. So that is what it is. Okay, I is equal to dq by dt. So from there you will be able to get it. Yeah, okay. So once you understand this charging, discharging, we are mostly done with this particular chapter. In this particular chapter, what are the things that you have learned? First, you have learned about the molecular basis for current. You learned about drift velocity and all those things. Next, you learned about Ohm's law. What is Ohm's law? How did Ohm do his experiment? And you learned about types of material. So I explained to you what is an ohmic conductor, what is a non-ohmic conductor. Again, I also explained to you what are insulators, what are conductors, what are semiconductors based on the band theory. We discussed the band theory. Then, so here Ohm's law and ohmic conductor. Then we discussed about Kirchhoff's laws. I gave you 2 assignments on this. I'm expecting them to get completed this week. Then after Kirchhoff's laws, we did the Wheatstone bridge circuit. Part of Kirchhoff's laws was series parallel connections. Yeah, then we worked out the Wheatstone bridge circuit. Then we looked at cells and internal resistance. Then we worked with cells and internal resistance. Then we worked with charging and discharging of capacitors. Okay, then I also told you that this is not there in NCERT syllabus, but you get questions based on this in the entrance exams, including the NEET exam. Even in the NEET exam, you get questions from charging and discharging of capacitors, even though the NEET exam has been focusing only on the NCERT syllabus, but still you get questions from there. Okay. Now there is a last part of it, which has a meter bridge and a potentiometer. So we will work on these two. These two are actually 2 experiments that you will be doing in your lab. Okay. These 2 experiments, even if you go for engineering to a good engineering college, you will be redoing these experiments. Yeah. So these 2 are very important experiments which you will be doing. So we will discuss these 2 experiments. First is the question of a meter bridge. What is a meter bridge and what is it used for? And then we will talk about potentiometer. The only thing that I have not done is I have not told you about the color coding of resistors. Color coding of resistors. This is also an experiment that you will be doing in your lab. So there is a color coding there for the resistors. When you go to the market and you buy a resistor, you get a resistor and there are some colored bands on it. So what does that mean? So it makes sense when you see it. Without seeing it doesn't make sense. So this is an experiment that will be done with you. When you go to your labs, they will show you a resistor and then they will ask you, they will teach you how to find out the resistance based on the color codes which are there. Okay, I will also try to show you at the end of it and then see if we can work it out. Right now, we will work out on meter bridge and potentiometer. So first we will look at meter bridge. How in denominator you get RC? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. How in the denominator you get RC? When you differentiate it, you get RC. Yeah. So IQ when you're differentiating this, you get RC. The differential of this is e power minus t by RC by RC. So that is how you get it. Okay. Now a short glimpse of charging of a capacitor. Okay. So this is a capacitor and this is a potential source. And then this is a capacitor, this is R, this is V. Okay, so now a current I goes this way, current I goes this way, current I goes this way. So we are going to apply Kirchhoff's law to this loop. So if I apply Kirchhoff's law to this loop, I will get V, that is a gain in potential, minus IR minus Q by C. So gain minus loss in potential is equal to 0. So I'll get V is equal to IR plus Q by C. Now this I can be written as dq by dt. So dq by dt R plus Q by C. So from here I have to solve this. To solve this, there is a technique. This is a differential equation. Differential equation. You will learn how to solve this in your regular classes. There is a chapter called differential equations in maths, so you will be learning it. Now, how do you solve a differential equation? You take all variables of one type to one side and then you solve, especially this kind of a differential equation. So I can say V minus Q by C is equal to dq by dt. I will take LCM, I'll get VC minus Q by C is equal to R into dq by dt. So from there, I'll get VC minus Q is equal to RC into dq by dt. So from there, I will get a dt is equal to RC by VC minus Q dq. So now I'm going to integrate both sides. This is from 0 to t, this is from 0 to q. So now when you integrate this, you will get q is equal to q0 into 1 minus e power minus t by RC. So this is what we had done yesterday. And I told you also that in stg.learnity.com, there is a video which will explain all these things. So this is what is called as a RC circuit. Okay, so if you go to that particular video, if you have missed what happened yesterday, so in that particular video, everything is explained in a neat manner. Okay, so this is what it is. Yeah. Why we are not using the similar circuit for charging and discharging? Discharging, you cannot have V, no? Only if voltage is not there, it will discharge. If voltage is there, how will it discharge? If a bucket is full, you can't draw more more water from a well. So to draw more water from the well, you have to first empty the bucket. Only if you empty the bucket, you can draw water. Yeah. Under what topic the video will be there? So the video will be there. I showed you yesterday. Go to current electricity. Go to current electricity here. Go to stg.learnity.com. After you go, please enter your login details. I am entering my login details. Yeah, you enter your login details. After you enter your login details, please go to subject. It will come now in a minute. Go to subject, go to physics, go to JEE mains, then go to current electricity. So you have a video for you, RC circuit, charging and discharging of capacitor. Okay, so you click on that and you will get it. Okay, so you will get the video here. Okay, so if you go to NCRT, yeah, there are many more videos. Whatever, everything is explained there. You don't have to ask me, it's all there for you. How does a cell work? Lot of things are there. So please take that and then start working on them. Okay, fine. So let me get back. Let me get back. Nobody is using the existing videos itself. Nobody is using, sir, for all topics. Don't we have videos? We have. If you use it, I will put them without using them, because if I put them also, I use up internet space. So this is all hosted at AWS and I have to pay based on the amount of usage. So if you use, I will put them. As of now, whatever is being taught to you is there. So you use them. Even for Gokul Nathan, what is your above question? Can you say how to find the circuit connect to internal resistor or normal resistor? It doesn't matter. In an always whenever there is a battery, there will be an internal resistor. Can most of the circuit problems be solved using parallel access of symmetry? Yeah, Vignesh, yes, most of the resistors could be solved by series parallel and concept of symmetry. Concept of symmetry is also not there in your JEE syllabus, so you won't get it from there. Only series parallel. Then Gokul Nathan is asking, how do you find resistors connected to internal resistor? Internal resistor is just like a normal resistor. Only thing is, next to the battery, you will have to put that. There is nothing else. Sir, we are not using the similar circuit for charging and discharging. Yeah, because we have a battery, no battery. Sir, can most of the resistor combinations be solved by, no, you won't need even, only by series parallel. Yeah, okay. So I hope Gokul, you are asking if there is an internal resistance, what to do. Don't worry, internal resistance, suppose there is a battery like this and there are this, sorry. Now suppose they say there's an internal resistance, just put a small resistance here, R, that's it. Internal resistance is like an external resistance. Only thing is that it is next to the battery. And whenever you talk about a battery, it is this much. This is the battery. Okay, so internal resistance is nothing different from external resistance. Internal resistance is always there, whether there is an external resistance or not. Just connect it to the, just put it next to the battery and you get it. Okay, fine. Let's move to this project, this experiment. We will just write down, this is called the meter bridge experiment. Okay, so the meter bridge experiment is used one to find out the value of unknown resistance, Second, it is used to find out the resistivity of a wire. So these are the two practical uses where it is put. Suppose you have an unknown resistor, how do you find out the resistivity of the wire? Okay, then the principle behind the working of a meter bridge. So the principle behind the working of a meter bridge is a Wheatstone bridge. That is, a meter bridge works on the principles of a balanced Wheatstone bridge circuit. Okay, a meter bridge works on the principles of a balanced Wheatstone bridge circuit. So we have a balanced Wheatstone bridge circuit, and then the meter bridge is based on that. Okay, now what are the equipments that you need? So the equipments that you need, the first equipment that you need is something called as a meter bridge. So this is how a meter bridge looks like. It's basically a big, so there's a big board. On the board, you will have one point here, and there will be a wire here. This is 1 meter long. That is why it is called a meter bridge. Then connected to that, you have a conductor, and you have a conductor, and you have a conductor, and you have connected to one more point, and then there is a conductor like this. Okay, so these are all conductors. There is a gap here, there is a gap here, there is a knob in between here, and that you could connect it to a galvanometer. So you have a galvanometer. A galvanometer is just like an ammeter. It measures the magnitude of the current. A galvanometer helps you measure the magnitude of the current. Then you have a jockey. So you have a jockey. A jockey is basically, it's not a pointed end, but it's something, it has a end of this kind. Like this. Okay, it is like a screwdriver, so that you can slide it. So you can slide it over this wire. Okay, so there is a jockey there. So that's a jockey. Then you have a known resistance. And then you have a unknown resistance. Okay, so you can put the known resistance here. You can put the known resistance here, and you can put the unknown resistance here. So if you put the unknown resistance here, you will see that you will have one resistor, you will have another resistor. From the middle, you have a galvanometer connected, and there's a wire. So now you are connecting this end to this wire. Now here you will have a power source. So there is a power source required. So there is a power source required. So if you see, this is a typical Wheatstone bridge circuit. So this is one resistor, this is one resistor. Okay, this is a known resistor, this is unknown resistor. Then this is 1 meter long. Yeah, then you can keep moving the jockey. This is a galvanometer. You can keep moving the jockey till galvanometer shows 0. Once the galvanometer shows 0, that means there is no current. Once there is no current, you will see that it is a balanced Wheatstone bridge. Now, if it's a balanced Wheatstone bridge, this ratio must be equal to this ratio. Now, because this is 1 meter long, if this is having some length L, this will have 100 minus L. So, R1 is equal to R1, R2 is also there, R2. This resistance will become equal to rho L by A, and this other resistance will become rho 100 minus L by A. Now, when you try to find out the ratio, this ratio is equal to this ratio, this rho A gets cancelled, and you can find out the balance point. Once you find out the balance point is basically what you find experimentally. Once you get the balance point, you can get the value for R2, the unknown resistor. So from there we can work out. Okay, so can you just make some notes? Yeah, a jockey has a clip end, right? Okay, can you please make some notes on this? So this is more important. This is more important. Uh, a, a meter bridge. A meter bridge is based on. So what is the experiment used for? To find out the magnitude of the unknown resistance. To find out the magnitude of the unknown resistance. The second one is to find out the resistivity of a wire. The principle behind the working, it works on a balanced Wheatstone bridge circuit. So I will explain this part again. So this is how a meter bridge is. A meter bridge is basically 1 meter long. Okay, it is 1 meter long, and it has a wire 1 meter long. And then it has this. It has this. It has this. It has a knob at the middle. Okay, so here you put one wire. Here you put one wire. So one side you will put known resistance. One side you will put unknown resistance. Then this is connected to a galvanometer, and then you have it to a jockey so that you can slide it, so that you can find out where the galvanometer will show 0. Of course, all that will happen only when there is a current passing through it. So you need a battery source. Yeah. So now if this is L, this will be 100 minus L. Now, if it is a balanced, then known resistance by unknown resistance is equal to L by 100 minus L. Now, L is experimentally determined. L is experimentally determined. Okay. So once you understand that L is experimentally determined, you get it. Once you get it, you can find the value for unknown resistance. Okay. So as per what we have done, unknown resistance is equal to known resistance into 100 minus L by L. There is no rule that you have to put known resistance here and unknown resistance here. You can swap them. There is no big deal. Okay. So this diagram is very, very important. This meter bridge is a 5-mark question for you, 3-mark question for you. It comes every year, 100% every year it will come in your JEE mains, 100% it will come in your board exam, 100% it will come in your JEE advanced exam. So this is very, very, very important. Okay, when you go for your lab exam, again 100% this experiment will be given to you. So every exam, this question will 100% it will come, meter bridge and potentiometer. One of them, in some exams, both have come. Yeah, it's a board practical experiment. If we keep a variable resistor in R1 and change resistance until even that is possible, but that is more difficult. We can get R2 easily. No, you have to keep now. If you keep sliding it on this, you have centimeter, you have millimeter. So just imagine the kind of, so here you may have 1 point, suppose this is 5 ohms and you try it with 4 ohms. Then suppose this is 5.3 ohms. Then you may not have 0.1 ohm. Okay, you may not have 0.1 ohm, but then while sliding, because you have millimeter also, so the accuracy will be higher. So with one connection you get it. Sliding is not very difficult. Yeah. Yes, it's a board practical experiment. 100% you will get it in your board practical. Not only board practical, JEE mains 100%, JEE advanced 100%. Okay. So fine, why are you putting the arrow? That is the symbol for the jockey. For the jockey, the symbol is to put it an arrow, because I can't draw it. A jockey actually looks like a pencil, but not with a pointed. It looks more like a screwdriver. It looks like it has a blunt end, so that you can easily slide it. So this is how a jockey is represented by an arrow. This is how a resistor is represented. This is how a battery is represented. The same way, this is how a jockey is represented by an arrow, so that you can slide the position. Okay. So fine, we will stop here. We will continue again at our regular class. Today is the last day we are having morning physics class. Today Amit will definitely be back and back into action. So I'm confident tomorrow onwards he'll be doing the class. Okay. So I think he has some health issues. I don't know exactly what. Just that he told me till 2 days. He told me he will not be able to take class. Then yesterday again night he said it is got extended for one more day. So yeah, so bear with it. Tomorrow onwards regular classes will be held. Yeah, could you tell from this topic? Yes, I will tell. Afternoon we will discuss more questions based on this, then we will do. Okay. Yeah, bye.